Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the late start. Time is 6:39, May 9th, 2023, Abington Conservation Commission meeting. First item is old business, discussion and possible vote on abbreviated notice of resource area delineation located at 161 North Quincy Street. Somebody here from that property? Just get up, state your name and affiliation.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scott Faria from Holmgren Engineering. Along with me, I have Phil Clemens, the project botanist, and Ed Zachary, the owner of the property at 161 North Quincy Street. We were before you folks back the end of March with a ANRAD filing for the subject property. There were some questions and additions that were requested on the plan. We've since made all the plan changes. Mr. Clemens submitted some DEP forms and some clarifications on a few of the resource areas on the plan. I think we've addressed everything that was mentioned in the letter, I believe, the email that was dated March 29th that outlined all of the concerns from the previous meeting. So I think we've hit everything. Really no significant plan changes, just some additions. There was some, wanted to add some topography to the site. We did that, labeling the individual resource areas, whether it be bordering vegetated wetland or isolated land subject to flooding, showing the buffer zones in color. Couple of questions with the legend. I believe that was about it, Mr. Chairman.
Open up to the board. Do you have any questions?
I do. I kind of have a question, but it's not really on this, but did we ever hear back on 267 as that might impact this property? Tony?
Yes, we did, but we didn't get enough to go for a site walk yet. I'm still working with him.
Okay.
Are they gonna let us do a site walk, or where do we stand?
It's all up in the air right now. It's between DEP and them right now.
Oh, so the property owner's in communication with Andrew? Okay. Do we know that they've actually talked, or have they just said they're
From what
gonna?
I've heard.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for, I was the one who generated all the comments that we all had and put it into one thing.
Thank you for your comments.
Oh, sure, and thank you for making the changes.
Sure.
I just have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So one of the things that I mentioned was marking, in the previous packet that we got, there was mention of an intermittent stream or some man-made depressions or swales. And I requested to have that on the plan, but I don't see any named intermittent stream. But when I read the information about Area B, that does mention there's a leaf twig drift, thank you.
Yeah.
Evidence that it simply channels moving water during times of runoff. So is B, the B flag, supposed to be that intermittent stream or channel?
If you like, Phil
Could you-
Clemens.
Do you want to
Get up to
come?
the podium, please.
My name is Phil Clemens. I have a small consulting business known as Tunk Associates. I live in Hanson and work there, and as a sideline, I also chair the Conservation Commission in Hanson, so I'm familiar with your side of the table as well. Interesting site. Area B, I would not characterize that as an intermittent stream. The intermittent stream I mentioned is actually down in the, no question about it, wetland between lines C, D, and E. There is a stream that has a distinct flow even when it's not raining, and it's quite evident if you made a site walk there. And it flows eventually off the property to the east into the Ames Knoll State Park. I would characterize the topography in Area B as more of what the lay public often calls a ditch. It's simply a narrow V-shaped and cross-section depression which clearly carries water down a fairly steep slope into an area where the slope ends into a pool area, which is on the map, on the plan shown as Area B. But only the low end of Area B actually holds water some of the time. So I wouldn't qualify the area B is having an intermittent stream. It's truly more of a, call it a swale, call it a ditch. It's just a place where water moves readily when it rains.
How long is the ditch?
How long is it? It's probably shown best on the map. My recollection from the site, it's a couple of 100 feet long.
60.
Because at 200 feet with the connection, it could be or might not be.
It does not connect hydrologically with
does
Area
have
C.
to-
I'm just letting you know the lower end of it ceases to go any further once it gets to that pool.
But it gets to the pool, right?
If it goes underground, yes, not over the surface. That's not
Okay.
clear at all from walking the property. Years ago, before any of the sizable trees that are there now were there, someone was busy making a ditch, making a pool, for reasons unknown to us, to me anyway. And the evidence is there, as I tried to describe it as simply as possible.
So that swale is like roughly 450 feet,
Excuse me?
roughly 450 feet.
It's a long ditch, you know, and whether it's man-made or not is irrelevant to the wetlands. I think when it goes over 200, it's just a matter of, we need to see it probably.
Yeah.
And I do think we talked about getting, did we talk about getting a peer reviewer for this one? I thought we had.
We did.
And so, you know, we can probably get that resolved with the peer reviewer. I had a question on the ILS calcs. They didn't seem to follow the requirements from the policy from DEP for you had to do, there's the 1 year and the 100-year storm. And what we got here is a calculation, which I appreciate, of the volume there, but there's a calculation that needs to go along with that. Usually it's done by the engineer, that allows you to understand whether it qualifies completely or not. I think the 1 year, I've forgotten the difference. 1 year, one of them is a qualifier and the other's giving you kind of the extent. I think it might be the 100-year. So, but the policy is, it's from the 80s, believe it or not, but it's still, they haven't updated. And it's also in the reg, that you need that calculation as well. So that wasn't quite to where we thought we were gonna go, so that probably needs to be fixed as well. From my perspective, I think we haven't walked this site, so I think, you know, that's something that needs to get done.
I think
Because it will help us a
we're-
lot.
We're conceding that it's an isolated land subject to flooding, so with or without that calculation, it's still an isolated land subject to flooding.
Okay,
I mean, I can certainly do that additional calculation, but the simple calculation of ensuring that it holds a 1/4 acre foot, they both do. So, I
Good.
mean, we can certainly do more calculations if you
yeah,
like.
I think it's more of, I think, where the extent goes from here than for the calculation. So we'll go,
I like data.
what?
Sure.
I like data.
It's not
You
gonna
like
change
data,
what
you
it
like
is, but-
calculations. You and I- Sorry, the
Sure.
scientists on the board are agreeing. Okay, that was my comment, I think.
Yeah, I don't
And
think,
then, oh, you're going to talk about that, I can see it out already.
Yeah, regarding the DEP forms, I'm a little confused. For all the different transects, it says very strong ledge limit sampling.
Yes.
That's for every single area, and yet you have extensive, there's red maple, white pines, there's high bush blueberry. So how are you not able to do core sampling?
Would you like me to speak from up there?
Absolutely, yeah.
The trees like red maple and white pine are visible just by standing around and looking at them. Vegetation is quite clear, and vegetation of that nature any time of year, year-round. If one goes to do a core sample with a soil auger, any time of the year, good luck getting more than 1 inch or so. The soil is more like solid rock with cracks in it. Vegetation is one thing, soil is another. They're closer related, and both can and should be used for delineation purposes. Sometimes the facts are the soil or the surface of the ground is limiting in the lack of ability to go down 3, 4, 6, 12, 24 inches. If you go down slope to the wetland, the actual wetland that borders that intermittent stream, sampling is much easier because the sediments that have accumulated over the years in that wetland, which is relatively level, deep and saturated. You go upslope a short distance, and you encounter stone. There's a development not far away, it's called the Boulders, and there are extensive things on the surface that show a lot of stone, a lot of areas. It's strikingly difficult, in my experience, because I have a soil auger with me at all times, to get more than an inch or two, and again, you're lucky to get that in a great deal of the site.
But you mentioned in C, D, and E, you wouldn't have a problem?
Right, that's where the actual wetland is. C, D, and E is at the
Yeah.
lowest elevation at the east end of the property. That's where
Right here.
much sediment over the centuries has accumulated above, well above the bedrock. The bedrock is there if you go down further. I didn't go any further than you would go with an auger because there's no need to characterize it. But you go uphill a little ways, there's no accumulated sediment. In fact, the soil surface, it's not much more than duff or leaf litter on top of the solid, virtually solid rock. And it's the sort of place where trees successfully grow by putting the roots down into the cracks. Sometimes they grow in that shallow area, and therefore, sometimes one of the indications of a wetland sometimes is tree fall. But there are guidelines in DEP literature that says sometimes tree fall is due to stony soil conditions. But it all comes down to say that in a site like this, the upland areas, one could try for a long time. You would need more complex equipment than a standard hand-operated soil auger to get deep. You might need power tools to drill through rock. And you might hit what the drillers call refusal very quickly. In fact, I'm confident you would. Downslope in the areas surrounded by and defined by wetland lines C, D, and E, there's essentially a good-sized pocket which is open to and drains to the east towards Ames Knoll and towards Cleveland Pond. Different story there. There's a lot of, that's a very rich area in terms of resources. The vegetation, the moisture, it's a very different, I would characterize that as being very different from the higher elevation portions of the site.
Okay, the reason I asked about that, about C, D, and E, is that you still have no soil data, even though you mentioned that it's
Well, you
easy
can,
to tell right there.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying about A and B in terms of being stony, but
Sure.
why not C, D, and E? Because it says on C, for D, very stony, limited sample.
the area that is not actual wetland, the area that is above the wetland, even a short distance, reverts to stone. I mean, there's stone walls, there are outcrops, some of them probably half as high as in this room, in that immediate area, as shown too by the power lines that go through. There's a reason why this area hasn't been developed more thoroughly in the past. Difficult to develop. It's all I can say is the main goal that I had as a wetland scientist is to identify and lay out the line that delineates between what is wetland and what is not wetland. And I always use all the characteristics that are readily available to me. Vegetation, hydrologic characteristics, you can see evidence of past and present water flow and water levels, et cetera. Other hydrological indicators. And the vegetation, though, is always with us, and but it's also remarkably clear on this site. The vegetation changes a lot when you move from the wetland by C, D, and E to the upper areas. It becomes, frankly, much more sparse. The drier areas of this place, pretty limited undergrowth. The ground cover and the shrub layers and vine layers, very sparse, remarkably sparse, as compared to the rich growth you get in the wetland area, or in the isolated areas where there's more moisture. This doesn't border anything, but the isolated areas, very low diversity there, but a little more dense. Interesting site.
Okay, thank you.
It seems like the next step probably is a site walk / peer review. I think that's probably what we need. I think this is pretty complicated from a standpoint. One, we haven't been out there, but two, I think a peer reviewer would be a big help in this case for all of
Yeah,
us.
I
just
think-
think it's not as simple as,
Just for the basic fact and what Andrew said about the abutting property
Yeah.
and the issues we
Right.
have there, and if we can't get on the property, I don't wanna hold up making a decision, so if we can get a peer
Mhm.
reviewer out there just to get their eyes on it and get their feedback too.
Yep.
So we don't have to wait to get on that property.
They
for
might
so
have
long.
some suggestions if there's some, filling coming over on the property, how to handle it the best. I think that would be good.
Could I just ask it, I understand concerns you have off the property, but, we filed this back in 2015, and received an ORAD at that point. Obviously, the line changes over time, it's been 8 years, we had it reflagged. I certainly understand the need for a peer review in some cases, but in this case, we've got a BVW line that's pretty clear, our professional has laid out all the information. It's only a 400-foot-long BVW, it's essentially a straight shot from flag 1 to flag 20, there's not a lot of variation, whatever the numbers are, I'm just, there's not a lot of variation.
The ILSFs are
there.
also,
I'm sorry?
the ILSFs are also wetlands as well. So-
Well, the isolated land subject to floodings that have nothing to do with vegetation, as you know, it's just an engineering calculation.
But there's wetlands there too. You flagged them.
Right, but it's not a bordering vegetated wetland, it's an engineering calculation of a volume, which we have on the plan. I don't know why we would need a peer review at this point, 2 months after we filed. It's just, and as far as getting a peer review on our site to look at the abutting property, I don't know that that's necessarily fair that we pay for a peer review to look at somebody else's property. We're just looking at between our 2 stone walls, and, that's the information we have before you. So we're basically being asked to hire a peer review to review 400 feet of BVW.
I think because that we are not experts in this field, that we will rely on an independent evaluation as we have with other applicants, and it's just to reassure us that what is being presented before us is in agreement with what you're saying. It's an option that we do have as a commission.
Understood. I guess I'm just surprised now that it's coming up, as I said, 2 months after we filed. It's just,
Well, you filed, but you also continued a couple of times, and so we're here there tonight to talk about it.
understood. We held one hearing, the other continuations weren't
And
allowed.
unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum at the last meeting.
Understood. I guess I'm just saying it
Yeah.
we would have been happy to hire a peer review 2 months ago, so we'd be done tonight theoretically.
And 2 months ago, we also said we were gonna look and see if we can get onto that property, so we wouldn't,
Onto the abutting property.
Right.
But again, that's got nothing to do with our site.
we don't know that. We don't know that.
You can get on our site right now.
Right.
You can go there now. If you can't jump across the wall, we can't be held accountable for that. We're telling you, you can come on our site, and you have had the ability to come on our site for the last 8 years, since we originally filed. We've got no problem, but again, we shouldn't be held accountable for somebody else's, for you not being able to get on somebody else's property. That's got nothing to do with us.
I guess.
Can you get up to the podium?
Yeah, might I, just, I apologize. What does the other property have to do with buying the abutting property? I know you said you don't know that, so I was just for my own, because believe me, I have as much of a problem with him as you guys do.
I remember you saying it at the last meeting.
They're constantly coming on my property. I'm always cleaning up trash. Unfortunately, I just don't have the means to do anything about him. And so, but I don't know what he has to do with me site-wise, that's all.
The issue we have is we received the email from DEP saying that that property owner has destroyed, I think he said, an acre of wetlands. Didn't say where they were, and if you look on Mass Mapper, where do they line up as in regards to this property?
It basically goes,
At
this
the very
way.
back end by Ames Knoll.
Yeah, so starting, I don't know exactly when where it starts, but it goes from your property through his property. And if you look at the aerial imagery, that whole thing, if you
It's
overlay
destroyed.
it, it's
Yeah.
been destroyed, absolutely destroyed.
I've walked it, so you talking about the northern end by
Yeah.
where Ames Knoll is, so the area
Like-
of what, no, Matt?
Over here. Okay, so if you overlay Mass Mapper onto this, this whole area here is one big, long wetlands, and that has been destroyed.
Okay, but he hasn't come on here, has he?
I don't know, because I haven't been onto the site.
Okay.
You haven't destroyed your wetlands?
No,
but-
that's what I'm saying, honestly,
Yeah.
I've been trying to do this the right way.
Oh, absolutely.
Our
No, we're
property
not,
line
we're not
is-
trying to
Well, I'm
blame you
maintaining
for
my
it.
property, I just don't wanna get punished for what he's doing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what it feels like, because, like, so, obviously, you know, that I'm trying to delineate this because there's a developer that wants to put in, like, a development there. And he does have the resources to do something about this. And what he said is, he doesn't wanna put in a nice residential area next to the nest that this guy has. So he's made it clear that he wants to, if he does this project, he wants to try to buy that guy out, clean it up and restore the resources. So that would be like a win for both of us.
And I don't think you're being penalized, it's just that it was something that was brought to our attention by the DEP circuit rider, Andrew Poyant. So, I mean,
Get it?
it's just that it may impact, it may not. So therefore, if we have a peer reviewer to go through, look at this, confirm what is being presented before us, I'm not an expert in the field.
I understand. And you
I-
have the right to do your due diligence, believe me, I want to comply with anything you guys set forward, I really do. That's why I went with Mr.
I mean, this is a
Clemency.
very large piece of property, and we
Sure.
have done the same in other large pieces of property
I get it.
with multiple resource areas.
The only thing that I'm concerned with is, I'm a, like, because this has taken, I don't know what I'm doing, and this has taken like 6
Yeah.
months. So the guy that's been patient with all this, he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna look at other properties then, or other projects, and that's not your problem.
Yep.
Completely not your problem. But what I'm saying is this is something that already was inspected and checked out by this commission, and.
It was a
they gave
prior
us-
commission, I mean.
No, I understand. I'm just saying they did their due diligence and they assigned the ORAD. Nothing has changed. I'm not looking to make any adjustments. I'm just doing a renewal.
My concern is we're delineating a wetland, and what if he's plowed through the wetland here, and that's impacted your property? Like, maybe,
Wow.
is there because that, whatever he's done
Yeah.
here illegally,
Yeah,
which I believe it is, at least in the buffer zone,
sure.
that's
sure.
gonna impact what's actually on here. And so that's our concern, is that we need to get a better idea of, is there a connection?
Anything
Is this
I can do to
actually a
help you guys,
wetland or
I'll
not?
do. Anything you guys need,
Yeah.
anything.
Because it
I
could
wanna
be
help.
that there truly is no wetland in this section,
Yeah,
and therefore,
We get a report from the peer reviewer.
we get
and
the
then-
report, and they're like, yep, this is fine, there's no hydrologic connection here, it's an ILSF, treat it like that.
okay. But if he's destroyed his area, that shouldn't.
No, it's not
No,
gonna,
it doesn't
you're
affect,
not
gonna-
like,
you
you
don't
don't
need
have to
this-
pay for any of that or deal with any of that. It's
Right.
just, we need to make certain that
what he's done
what
hasn't
he's done hasn't
impacted
impacted.
your property.
Yeah,
I see.
That's what we need to do, because
Like I said, whatever you guys need to do, like whatever way I can help with that situation, it would help me too. So you tell me what you need to do to help with the neighbor situation, I'm happy to help.
well, I think that's why we want to get the peer reviewer, so we can just eliminate the neighbor situation
I
altogether.
understand, the only thing I'm afraid of is any more delays, it really won't matter
Yep.
one way or another anymore.
I
Yeah.
don't think it will be that much of a delay, because we do have 2 firms that we do use for peer review, and they have agreed to work with the town of Abington, and that was secured last year, so it's just finding their availability, and I'm sure they will, with the volume that they do, they must have the availability to come out, and I can reach out to them if the board so chooses, once a decision is made and a vote is taken.
I'm really sorry I interrupted on
No,
this.
that's
If
fine.
That's okay, no, glad you
I mean,
spoke.
We
Appreciate it.
understand, we understand.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yep.
For the record, I know I've had peer reviewers come in and check work that we've had done in Hanson, and I have been a peer reviewer. I was working kind of Plymouth last year and some other things. So I know how it works, but please, Mr. Zachary, consider me available.
Can you just get up to the podium?
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Unless there's a reason not to, please consider me available at any time, any schedule that a peer reviewer of your choice
Oh,
might
of
want to
course,
work.
of
There's
course.
a-
We prefer it, actually.
I could probably, yeah, no, that's what we've done before.
Yeah.
I've walked it with the previous delineators.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
with the whole thing,
I'd like-
it's a team effort, for sure.
I'd like to
Exactly.
do the site walk the same, if we go the peer review route, have
It'd be
this.
great to do it all in the
have
same
the-
time.
All at one whack.
And it would be ideal to do it soon, before any
Yep.
more vegetation or insects come out.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
For
Definitely.
everybody's health and happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, also, you had mentioned there's that pool down there, and you didn't see any evidence that it was a vernal pool, right?
correct, I always look for that, because we
Yeah.
certify vernal pools in Hanson, did a few just this past year, not myself, but a consultant. I was actually on the site in early April, late April, whenever, it was later than the latest document I provided my client, and it was bone dry. And it's,
Well, we also didn't
It's
have
very
any
strange.
rain for 2 months. March was very dry, according to, Weather Underground. It said we didn't have any significant rainfall in March or April, and it wasn't until the end of April we actually got a 2.5-inch storm of rain.
right, I
So, and
follow.
we've had no snow over the winter either, so.
Yeah, I follow the precipitation quite closely for
Sure.
the same reason you folks do.
Yep.
And it comes and goes on this site, and it's, like I said, it's an interesting place, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to help anyone review.
Yep,
Good.
absolutely.
Sounds good.
So our vernal pool regulations, we want to have people go out twice. So this would be, having a peer reviewer would be like the second opportunity to
Right.
look at this site as well.
Right, we are just about closing out the latest end when a
Yeah.
valid vernal pool inspection could happen, but one can still look at a site, look at its characteristics, and make some good educated conclusions. So, again, anything we can do, be happy to help with.
Okay, great, thank you. So if we can get someone out there this month,
Oh, yeah.
no later.
I'd like to get everything done by the next meeting.
Yeah.
Sure.
That'd
Not-
be great.
It's not as difficult a site as the last one we did,
Yeah,
size-wise I'm talking about.
right.
So I think it's doable, it should be doable.
Oh, we've done a couple that include acreage.
Hmm?
We've done a few with a
Oh,
large
yeah, but
amount.
I'm saying
Yeah.
it's 2 weeks is doable.
Yep,
So we'll try to get the consultant out there and
Yeah,
set up.
get everything set up so that somebody, whoever wants to come from the applicant, whoever wants to come from the commission and the peer reviewer, that way, just like the last one, anybody has any questions, we can just get everything resolved there, so at the next meeting,
We're done.
we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a plan.
Make a motion to continue?
Let me just open up to the public first. Anybody in the public have any questions? Bring it back to the board. We're not gonna continue, Rich, we're gonna either, like, vote for peer review and then continue it to the next meeting. Yeah.
Somebody make a motion.
I'll make a motion to hire a peer review to review the information that's been presented before us and have the, I don't have them, I couldn't see that before. Oh, we're up here. The abbreviated notice of resource and delineation located at 161 North Quincy Street.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So I want to make a motion to continue to
Is
the,
Jeannie gonna go find the peer reviewer?
Oh, I will.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that.
Well, yeah, it's only because I've had, last year I hired, well, I didn't hire them, but I asked them if they would
Yeah,
represent
no, I
the
would,
town.
that would be good. And
Yep.
the thing that the applicant needs to know is that they have to
Yep.
pay
yep,
upfront,
Yep.
so that we can't go out if we have a date set up if they haven't paid,
Right.
right? I think that's the rule.
so I want to make a motion to continue to the,
When's the next
the
meeting?
date, 23rd? To the May 23rd meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue until the May 23rd meeting.
Do you have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
All right, next up, discussion and possible vote on SE 084-553, project located at 154 Brockton Avenue.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ken Thompson. I took all your comments and did a lot of thinking about what you guys brought up in the last meeting.
We certainly did.
Thank you.
But I think I have some resolution for you,
Yep.
Good.
okay? Everybody, grab my lunch. There's two sheets
okay.
for,
You'll get them.
and this is behind my thing.
Oh, Richard's gonna get them.
Oh,
Thank you.
Rich is mobile again.
Yeah, how you feeling, Rich? Excellent, good.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Dan, are you?
Yeah. Recuse myself on this one.
If you turn to the one that is marked on the right as original existing conditions plan, should be the front cover, but I noticed I stapled mine backwards. All right, if you look at this is for you, Mr. Chairman, existing paved area, and if you look down below it, those are the elevations within our engineer's point file. So they're at 114 to 115.2, down in that area. So there's no bedrock there. That was a big question last time. Where's the bedrock? Okay? So there's no bedrock in there. We can go in there and take that down.
Cool. On the 114 line, yes?
I think it's elevation 116. So
116.
if you turn to the next page, hypothetically, you can see the darker lines, 116, 15, 14, down to 13. And then what I proposed to do is soften that real steep slope next to the bedrock slope to a 3-to-1. We'll go into the mitigation area a little bit, but what we're proposing to do is turn the entire area to the paved area and to the left as native. We'll take the grass out. Yes, ma'am.
So when you did the borings for the bedrock, you did them over here, but over here, where in relationship to these elevations? Did
No.
you do any testings there for the bedrock? I mean,
No.
can you, I
No.
guess I'm having a hard time trying to visualize.
That's the elevation of the existing land prior to anybody getting in there, the old
Okay.
house. That's where
Okay.
this plan comes off
Okay.
of, okay? I sent the video, I don't know if anybody had a chance to see it.
I couldn't open it, I'm sorry.
That's all right. But basically, I think they were digging out the foundation, and they were pounding. I can turn it on for you
Yeah, that's
afterwards,
what
I
I thought
can
it
do it on
was
my
the
phone.
foundation.
Okay.
Okay? So basically, instead of having grass through that whole area, plant it up with trees, put down the conservation wildlife mix. That turns the riverfront redevelopment to 8,500 square feet from 2,600 naturalized. And that's to take care of that issue, that issue. This young lady had an issue with the sign. Your sign, the sign that's in there right now is at 97 feet. We'll move it 3 feet further to the 100
And
foot.
I think also the
Placards?
the 200-foot riverfront protection area, I
Yeah, it's off property to the right of this map. It's actually off the map, the 200 foot. The 100 is where that, approximately that 119 contour is.
Okay. Okay. Am I in the right spot?
So.
Yeah, yeah.
It's this, it's right here.
Yep,
There's the 113
yep,
line right there.
yep,
I think you see it on
You can
that.
see it right there too.
yep.
And then the 57.
Yeah, yeah, if you go back to the
So it's,
original existing condition plan, you can see
Yeah.
the circle of the 100 footer coming off that culvert.
One sec. Can we put this on the big board?
would you be able to come over here and just confirm where the stream is? I think I know where it is, but it's in this area. right
Yeah,
here.
it's streams in here,
Okay.
the culvert's approximately here,
Okay.
end of the culvert.
Yeah.
Okay?
So, all right, so this is why I'm having an issue, because when I looked at this, and this was the as-built that was submitted, right? And here's the 200-foot riverfront protection area line here. So I'm trying to see where it is.
That's not the riverfront protection area, because the stream's here.
Right,
So
but it
runs
goes,
that way and then that way. You're running across the line. You see what I'm saying?
I thought it said it on the map was not really, I mean, could be, but.
That's the buffer zone.
The buffer?
That's the buffer zone on the
Okay.
dotted line. So you're looking at
Huh?
the buffer zone for the, here.
Dotted line here?
The dotted, yeah, this one says it's the buffer zone. Is it, is yours? I don't see the riverfront on this one.
This is where the opening of the culvert is, right here.
Yeah, right there.
Right.
There's the 100 foot. That's the 200-foot.
Oh, there it
There's
is.
a culvert.
So this buffer zone here?
That's 200-foot outside the end of the culvert.
Oh, okay. Here,
That's why
this-
it
this
arcs
is-
like that.
This dotted line is the 100-foot.
Okay.
And then the 200-foot is over, it's this line here.
Right, right.
Okay, so we're good. All right, this is the 200.
Right, so when, so the as-built, this is a little dotted line that comes right through here.
Mm-hmm,
That's the 200-foot, correct?
correct. So I believe you were, we had an issue that there was some piece of it that was in the riverfront. I think this is what she's
There we go.
asking about, the steps and maybe the deck.
How's
But I
that
think
work?
you, I think
Kathy?
you proposed to
Patio.
put replication in,
The
Okay.
patio.
So,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you
The
proposed to put
the
replication. in.
patio and the
Oh, there it is. on
air
the big
conditioning
screen.
units add up to another 182 feet of impact.
Right.
Okay.
But
Of course.
I'm tripling,
You're tripling that
Okay.
number.
To
He's
improve
actually
it.
adding a bunch.
Okay,
so I was hoping we can keep patio because it acts like
right.
an access to the house and the
No,
two
and-
heating units.
Yeah.
Heat
I
pumps,
just
whatever
want-
they are.
I understood her question now, so
Okay.
Yeah.
that was all.
That was,
Good.
I mean, I was just trying to see it on here,
I
and
get
I'm
what
like,
you're saying.
why am I not seeing this?
So you've increased the area of replication.
Yeah, it's
of
like,
land.
increased it by 5936 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we have the other 26 already in there, so,
So you said you're gonna change the slope and make
Yeah.
it a little gentler.
you see how
However-
it pushes into the area
Yep,
down there?
yep,
That's the one.
So, but then we'll give you everything to the parking area.
okay.
And we'll put a knee wall near the parking area with a guard.
Okay.
Cars don't come off. And then we'll give you everything else, and we'll naturalize it
All
for
right, you
you.
did mention a fence the last time too, is that gonna be?
If you want it.
I just think me having kids, and I'm sure anybody who has kids know that in the wintertime, they like to go sledding down the hill. And if you're spending all this money to do this restoration, it's like, I'm just saying.
Didn't even
It's all right,
look
the
at that.
four-wheelers are the worst.
I know, but I just,
ATVs,
again, it's a safety thing for me for kids, because,
Mhm.
I mean, they go crashing down the hill and,
That won't be an issue.
all right.
That won't be an issue.
Yeah, and I think we only needed along
We only
They
needed
want,
it
like,
along that,
119
I'm gonna have to
or
put up a
there.
guardrail on the other end anyways.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I think it's about 2 feet on the right side and 9 inches on the bottom side, this knee wall.
Okay.
yeah.
And then
Cool.
we'll put up one of those 6x6 posts.
So, and the evergreens that were supposed to go, I think I had a
They're
picture
gonna
of.
go to the neighbor's house, and you guys talk about white pine, but I'd
Yeah.
like to talk to her.
Okay,
Arborvitae would grow better there. It grows in
Arborvitae,
wet up
okay.
north.
what is it?
You want to put arborvitae's there? Have at it.
Okay, I'm just saying that if it's,
Okay,
if it's still
excellent.
gonna go along the parking,
Love a good response.
is it still gonna go along the parking area?
I thought it was going up against the fence. or
It's going against the
Oh, I
fence.
don't know.
Be up against the fence.
Because
Oh,
it's,
okay.
that, it's 95, so.
All right.
95 Niles,
Very
so.
good, okay.
And what, I'm sorry,
Oops, oops,
Sorry.
that's okay. Along, there's a solid black line along
knee-
the edge, what is that?
On the edge, what?
That's
Not
under
not the
knee
knee
wall.
wall, no, not the knee wall, but it's around the area where it says add 5, 6, 8 red maples.
Oh, that's just from the engineer's line.
It's
I
just
got-
an inch.
It's the, I think it's the original area, this line.
so when you change the contour of the land from the 119 to, what's the slope on that?
3 to 1.
3
which
to
is-
1.
Which is great.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I'll
That's
have
what
the
we
land.
would
I'll have
have
the,
normally asked for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
the
what you
riprap-
asked for.
The riprap is gonna be removed.
Rip Rap's gone.
Perfect. My only comment was that we probably need to get this stamped before you're done. Maybe Mr. Garvey can stamp it for you, because we don't have a stamped final plan.
Well, you gotta get an as-built anyways, in the end. Either way, I
Probably not
don't,
for 2 years. So we usually have something that we,
Yeah, to go
a
with
formal
the
plan that
notice of
we.
intent, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any
Okay.
problem with what's here.
that's not a
I'm
problem, I
not-
can send it to
I'm
him.
not, I don't have an issue, just, we probably should get it stamped by somebody.
Yep.
Just so that we have an official final with the land surveyor or P.
That's fine. And then you'll get an as-built afterwards, too.
Yeah,
so.
to get the certificate of compliance, you'll need that.
Okay, any other issues concerning fixing this place?
I-
You talked signage, I've got pictures, we've already got the signs for
I
you.
love the signs.
Yeah, the signs are good.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Where are they?
What about the planting
I got
plan,
the
guys?
signs.
Yeah,
Okay?
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah.
pass it
Can we
around.
talk about the
And I can
planting
do
plan?
video.
the planting plan.
Planting plan. Are we actually expecting more than what he just shows on this piece of paper? I'm gonna ask the doctor.
No, I think it looks great.
You're fine.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
And we'll add the extra 5 in the old area, to get
Mm-hmm.
some height. The area behind it is a lot more multi-floor rows than you think out there. It fills all in behind the
Yeah.
wetlands and up the side.
Yeah,
So when we go in to restore this upper area, I'm gonna take out a foot of loam.
yeah, this bit is sweet too, so.
There's
I
everything
know
in there.
that the
It's
neighbors
nasty.
were very happy to hear that that was,
And I'd be able to,
gonna
if I
go-
can take a foot of dirt out, at least I'll take some seed source out of it too, because you get
Yeah.
garlic moss
Great.
and everything else.
Yep.
In the back and in the wetland, we'll hand pull the rows, and I'm supposed to give you back 5 big swamp dogwoods. I'll put it down in that lower area in this gentleman's house.
That's good.
Perfect.
and let's say that we approve this, when are you thinking about getting
Soon.
started?
As soon as you give me the go.
right away.
As soon as you give me the
Yeah.
go. I've got
Okay.
full authorization from Mr. Menta to
Okay.
run this, and it's my call now,
Okay.
so you're gonna be yelling at me. I went up there.
I don't want, I just want, just call us. Call us
I
when,
tried. I tried to reach out to Kathy, but Tony was already there a half hour later with the peer review stuff. The grass seed did not come in the area we planted last fall at all. Zero.
Huh.
Never seen that before. So we'll redo that. We'll rake off the hay, redo it. I'm gonna put a buckwheat on top. Look a little weedy for the first year. I'll come in July, cut it about halfway down throughout the entire area, all 8,000. Just so I can get it stabilized. You know what I
Great.
mean?
Okay. This is good.
anyone else have any
Signage.
questions?
Oh, fence.
Open it up to the public? Bring it back to the board? I guess before we vote to approve this, we should probably rescind the peer review, right?
Okay, I guess I'll make a
You're
motion
the
to
peer
rescind.
review, or you're the peer review,
I'll make a motion to rescind the peer review in light of this plan that's been submitted to us, be stamped and approved with an engineer's
PE
stamp,
stamp.
and with the
Well, or
plan,
or a land surveyor.
or a land surveyor, and go with the changes suggested by Mr. Thompson here tonight.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And
Thank
will
you.
you
If I have any
contact
problems, I'll
us?
make sure. I'll call.
No, this is a great compromise, Ken. Thank you for.
Yes, thank you.
This
Thank
is
you.
good.
Getting this
This
put
is a
together.
very,
We're much happier tonight.
Much happier.
Thank you.
Will you contact us before you get started to let us know
Yeah.
what's going on
Yeah.
and everything? Okay.
When you come out, I'm gonna do some exploratories in that lower area anyway, so make sure everything's all right. Because when I remember driving by, it was just a hole full of water.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep.
after. it's
Yeah, so
done.
Ken, just reach out to Tony when you're ready to get out there and, yeah, the plane first. and
Yeah,
then-
absolutely, absolutely.
Very good, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thompson,
Thank you.
thank you.
Next up is certificate of compliance located at 48 Lincoln Street. Okay.
We just locked away my stuff.
Are they just going to the men's room or recusing themselves? Just going to the men's room?
No, he's recusing himself.
Oh, is he? Okay. Okay. Mr. Chairman, Sean Riley for the record, 500 Washington Street, the attorney for the applicant, Abington Investments LLC. With me tonight, as you know, you've met Glenn LaPointe Jr. and Stephanie Hoban from Strong Point Engineering. We are here as a follow-up to the order of conditions that this commission issued on December 8th, 2022, DEP number 840560, requesting a certificate of compliance for the construction of the single-family house at 48 Lincoln Street. If you recall, there were no wetlands that we were dealing with here as far as no wetlands replication. This was an issue that we were within the 200-foot Riverfront Protection Act. So we had the restoration area the plan that was submitted to the commission, and then we've now developed that property and everything is now complete. So if you recall, there was an older house there that was it was dilapidated. It wasn't kind of dilapidated, it was dilapidated. We removed that house. We removed the debris piles that were along the riverbank. We removed the existing pavement that was next to the river. There was a driveway very close to the river. That's been removed. The new house was constructed. The grading was adjusted to better protect the river. If you recall, the existing conditions allowed water to sheet off the driveway right down to the river. It's now been adjusted so that it flows kind of down the side yard instead of at the river. We planted the 19 trees and shrubs in that restoration area per the layout, the approved layout. The all-new lawn was put in, has been seeded, and is fully germinated. And we've also planted the 4 additional trees in that southwest corner of the yard, the backyard. That's the corner that's farthest away from the river. The lawn and the plantings are all 100% healthy and thriving. And again, there was no replication that we're dealing with here, it was the restoration. All the work has now been completed. The house is scheduled to be sold this coming Wednesday. Strong Point Engineering has filed a packet for the request for the certificate of compliance. Included in the packet is their written engineer's certification. Also, the wetland specialist issued his certification. We filed the as-built plan. We filed 15 photos of the property, both before work and after work. We filed a signed letter from the home buyers confirming their receipt of the order conditions and acknowledging that there are ongoing conditions that they will be subject to. And we also filled out the Form 8A, which is the request for certificate of compliance, and the Form 8B, which is the certificate of compliance. I wanted to note there are 2 minor differences between the approved plan and the as-built plan that the professionals didn't note, because I think they consider de minimis. One was there's a back deck on the house that wasn't shown in the plan because the plan shows the foundation. We submit the same plan to the zoning board and to the Conservation Commission. However, the back deck, it's still an impervious area. It's not there's no patio, there's no pervious land there, so there's a deck that comes off the back. There's also that front porch that goes off the front, but that is covered, and that's why we showed that in the original plan as we did with the zoning board. Also, just for the record to note, the original plan called for some pig nut hickory trees to be planted, and we can't find them anyway. They were not 3 different places, so they were replaced with service berries. It's still a tree that serves the same purpose. So as I said, all the work has been completed. I would think I don't know, has anybody not walked the property?
I have not, but I'm familiar with the property.
All right, so 3 gentlemen have
I've been out there several times.
Okay, I just want to know what my audience is. Well, we submitted the before and after photos that are part of the submission, but just to add to that, if it helps you, this is photos from today. I want to share, just to show that.
Oh, thank you.
Share. Just the work is completed and everything's green and growing.
Okay, I guess the 3 of us can share.
So,
Here, I looked at it, I'm good. It's very green.
It's very green.
it is, the lawn really took hold with the good weather this spring.
Oh, I was surprised how fast the wetland seed germinated.
Yeah, everything is up and growing and healthy as required. So, as I said, all the work is done. There's no more that has to be done other than watch it grow, and then we'll continue monitoring for through the next growing season, which goes through the end of next year. Obviously, there are ongoing conditions. So, in the certificate of compliance form that we submitted, we filled in the blanks, and I filled in what I believe would be the ongoing conditions that the commission would like to see on the certificate of compliance, but it's up to you to look at those and edit those. I know there was a question whether it's a complete certificate of compliance or a partial certificate of compliance, but I think if you look at the regulations, I don't think there's any question that it's a full, complete certificate of compliance subject to ongoing conditions. And if I could, I want to just hand you a copy. You already have one in the packet, but I'm just going to give you another copy of the certificate of compliance form as we proposed it to be filled out. I just wanted to walk you through the rationale and the CMR regs. So, the certificate of compliance, basically in Part B down the bottom, you have 5 boxes to check off. It says check all that apply. And if you could just turn to the second page first, I think it's easiest. The second page under Part B, there's 1 box on the first page and there's 4 boxes on the second page. The last 3, just want to point to you first. 1 is invalid order conditions, 1 is ongoing conditions, and that 5th one there is order of resource area delineation. I think we can all agree that invalid order doesn't apply, we're not going to check that box. Order of resource area delineation doesn't apply, we're not checking that box. But ongoing condition does apply, we have to check that box. And as it says right next to it, the following conditions of the order shall continue, include any conditions contained in the final order conditions such as maintenance or monitoring that should continue for a longer period. So those orders, the conditions that I listed in there are all the ones that address the ongoing monitoring, but also the issues such as limitations to, no salt, nothing but organic fertilizer, no dumping anything in the river. Those are all ongoing conditions. So then it leaves you the question between, all right, now for the first 2 boxes, which one do you click off, complete or partial? The question to be answered with that is, the first box is, it is hereby certified the work regulated by the above referenced order conditions has been satisfactorily completed. I would submit, based on everything we've submitted to you, the photos, the as-built plan, the engineer's certification, and the wetland scientist certification, that is true, the work has been completed, because the only other option would be partial certification, which says it's hereby certified that only the following portions of work regulated by the above referenced order have been satisfactorily completed. The project areas or work subject to this partial certification that have been completed and are released from the order are blank. There is no other work to be done, the work is done. And the monitoring that's required and the conditions in perpetuity that are in the order conditions are addressed in that 4th box, the ongoing conditions. So with that, I'd love to take your questions, but I think it was a very successful project. The neighbors are thrilled. I know they've approached Glenn on a number of occasions. I think the river is in a much better status now than it was. Obviously, if you just walk on the property or just look at the photos. And I hope you are pleased with the work, the quality work that's been done, and will vote to issue the certificate of compliance so we can move forward with the sale of the property next week. Are there any questions?
Who's maintaining all the conditions that are in perpetuity?
Both, well, the owner of the property is always responsible. That's on record.
Yep.
And if you remember, one of your conditions is that I had to do 2 things. Put it in the deed that's going to get recorded next week that says this property is subject to the order conditions recorded at the book and page blank. It's already recorded at the registry of deeds. And your order actually said that at the time of requesting a certificate of compliance, the owner should sign a certificate saying that they understand they're subject to the ongoing.
That's on.
Even though the new buyers don't technically own it today, we required them to sign it as part of the purchase and sale agreement so that I could submit it to you so you know that when we change hands and give the keys to them, they're aware of it. I've reviewed it with their attorney, gave them copies of it. It was attached to the purchase and sale agreement.
So they're going to ensure that 75% overall restoration has been met over a 2-year period?
Right, both the new owners and LaPointe are going to be standing behind the work. They have a 1-year limited warranty with the house anyhow, so they're not leaving. So yes, both parties are responsible.
It's beautiful. I think the house is beautiful. I like the way everything's set up. My only concern is, let's say we give the full certificate of compliance. Does that mean that if something happens like a year from now, and we're like, hey, we want to access the property to see what's going on, and they're like, get away. We already have a certificate of compliance.
No, because you have a certificate of compliance with ongoing conditions, and that is going to be hand-delivered. I have to record that, file it here, but then I also have to give it to the closing attorney and the buyers. So they know that those are ongoing conditions, and part of our agreement with them was I highlighted, in fact, I've had them initial, that they received the order conditions and read it with those in perpetuity conditions. Frankly, it goes beyond the next year. it's in perpetuity. If 5 years from now, they're dumping stuff in the river, you have every right in the world to file an enforcement order. You know, so this goes well beyond just next year.
Yeah, so if 2 years goes by, if they don't have 75% growth or success rate, and they say, you know what, we're happy with 50%, you have a certificate, we have a certificate of compliance, then basically we'd have to issue them an enforcement order because they're in violation of the ongoing conditions.
Right, and even if we do comply, we have to send you another update from our wetland scientist at the end of the next.
Right.
And new photo, additional photos at that point. All that goes great, we have more than 75%, good. All the other conditions are still out there, the ones that are listed in your order, in your certificate of compliance, so.
It is a beautiful project, I must say. It came out very nice. I'm glad to hear that that's going to be in perpetuity. But I have a small little thing. This was the project that you gave us before it happened, and you had identified all the debris that was going to be removed, but yet it's still sitting here in the picture. Yeah.
Oh, the bench?
Yeah, it's right there.
What is it?
The bench.
Oh, the bench.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's in the riverfront area. There's the bench, and you say, "To be removed," and I'm looking at it, I'm going,
Yeah.
is that the bench? It is.
Oh, yeah, it is there.
So,
If you'd like it removed, we can have it
well,
removed.
I mean,
but
I'm just
Well,
thinking
affordable.
of families.
Did the buyer request it?
Well, see, that's just it. It's a riverfront, you're not supposed to be in it, and it makes it look like what a nice area to go and sit,
You
but,
can be in the riverfront.
well, you can be in the riverfront.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you
It's a
can.
backyard.
It is a backyard, and you're not supposed to do anything other than enjoy what it is. It's just it's something you would put in the proposal, and I just am asking you about it, that's all.
I didn't even notice it because it kind of fits with the bucolic setting out there.
Yeah, I know,
If
but
it's-
I'm just-
I would say keep it, because you don't know how it's anchored into the ground, the concrete. You might
Okay.
think it's just
Might
the
take more to
concrete
take it out
posts.
than to leave it.
Good eye on that one. You got up by me. I didn't even notice it. so.
Yeah, no, because I was looking at your pictures side by side, and I goes, wow, the riverfront really got cleaned up, and then I'm like, wait a minute.
You want the bench in your front yard?
Yeah, you wanna come deliver it? But I just
Want it in
wanted to
front
point that
yard?
out.
Thanks.
All right, it is a pretty project.
So who's a wetland scientist?
Brad.
ECI.
Yeah, ECR.
Oh, I know him. We saw him.
Brad's been doing this for
You
20
did that-
years, and ECR has been around
Brad.
since
You did which
2006.
Brad, remember we met him down at the Central Street.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Did we do that peer review study or
Brad Holmes.
webinar?
yeah, we've used.
He did
it
do a
before.
webinar. for
Anybody
us
else have
one
any
time.
questions?
No.
Open up to
No,
a
I have a
bit,
comment, though, that we probably need to have Tony put it on we should start a wetlands calendar, just to remind us when.
The reports are
When
due.
these reports are due,
Yeah,
just so that we, not just for this project, but for
all projects.
projects. And that way, we can also send.
Send a reminder.
Send a reminder, you know,
Yeah.
because it sometimes slips people's minds. But I think that would probably make me feel a lot more confident that we're keeping track of it, too.
Yeah.
So the reports and everything that are part of the ongoing conditions, are they gonna be coming from the new owner?
Owner or from Mr. LaPointe?
No, we're still using ECR. They're under
So
contract.
everything's gonna be
Oh,
coming
all
through
right.
ECR, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that works. Anybody else have any questions?
I don't have the original order of conditions, so the conditions that were outlined in his letter.
Oh, there's one thing. The original order of conditions, I think it was Lynn and Eric were going back and forth, tweaking the final order of conditions. I know when we approved them originally, they called for 2 wetland signs. In the final draft that you emailed me back in December, I glanced over it, and I think it was deleted from the final.
A wetlands, you mean a restoration area sign?
2 signs like we put over on,
Markers
over
like
on-
you've
Yeah,
done on
yeah.
other
remember you
projects.
put them in over on Groveland Street?
Yeah.
That property there, the 2, something similar to that.
With the
Can we-
4x4?
Yeah,
I don't even think it was 4x4s, but whatever you did over on Groveland Street, can you
the
put 2 of
little,
those
the
in?
little posts usually.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And the signs are 8.5 by 11, I think.
Well, this was done before.
Oh.
We did the reg, so I'd say just whatever they did over on
Whatever they can
Groveland
do,
Street.
yeah, but it's
Just
just good
replicate
to have it
that.
marked.
Can you put 2 of those in?
Yeah, and we try to be as discreet as possible. I don't know if 8 by 11, that's kind of.
No, just use
ruins
this-
the view of everything.
The same thing you
Or
did
8
over on
and a
Groveland
half by
Street.
11.
Yeah, yeah.
Piece of paper is what I was talking,
Oh.
not 8 by 11.
No, no, not,
They're like,
yeah.
they're not huge.
No, we don't have any issue with that. You can see the area is pretty well delineated as it is, so
Yeah,
it'll
oh,
be
yeah.
obvious, but we'll put the signs.
Where do you want to put them? Just so we, I think one should go in the,
Restaurant.
way in the back,
Yep.
and one, probably somewhere near where that bench is.
The benchmark?
That's kind of like the middle, right?
It is the middle.
Middle area.
Well,
Or even if you plant it in where all the shrubs are.
yeah, you put some nice, the plantings look beautiful.
Do you want us to, like, put one in the far back
Yeah,
corner, like
yeah, if
up
you
at
go
the
straight
edge of
down.
lawn, right?
Yep, yeah,
Edge of
exactly.
lawn, and then maybe halfway up?
Put one right in where all the shrubs are, somewhere.
All right. Oh, like inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a very nice project.
Thank you. I have to give credit to Glenn Jr. and his brothers for how meticulous they were. I was kind of giving them crap, but they did a good job. It was a struggle for a single-family house, but in the end, I think it's going to be a nice,
Well,
happy family there.
Thank you both for the communication throughout.
Yeah,
That's
thank
it,
you.
yeah.
Thank you for the communication throughout, getting it done.
Yep.
Yeah, we're all trying to learn, and this was a real test for all of us, especially with the restoration and the 200-foot riverfront and the new conditions and stuff, and I'm sure there's still things to be tweaked as we move forward, but,
The state's updated everything too.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I just came from a 2-hour water department hearing, it's a lot of stuff in flux. So, with that, I hope you'll vote to issue it, and I will deliver it to the closing attorney.
Any other questions before I open it up to the public?
When will we get the first report?
I think it's at the end of this growing season, we do another one. And then
Then the
next,
Beginning
following
of the
spring,
next-
following spring, yep.
So we'll get it September, October.
yeah, in that area.
Okay, that's, so, Tony, can you put in the reminder for October 15th for a monitoring report for this particular project? Would that be okay? Thank you, appreciate it.
Open it up to the audience. Anybody have any questions? Bring it back to the board. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for 48 Lincoln Street for the certificate of compliance,
To approve?
to approve the certificate of compliance, and to put in 2 wetland signs.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tony, if you just let me know when that's signed, and I'll get it on record.
Sign it tonight, right?
Thank you. Have a good night, go Celtics.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you not a Celtics fan, or you are?
I'm just sad the Bruins are out
No,
as
it
early
is.
as they
Oh,
are.
I know. Parents are so upset about that.
Welcome back.
Panthers might be Stanley Cup champions.
It's the only saving grace of losing to them, but it shouldn't have happened, so.
All right, next up, discussion and possible vote on RDA for 95 Nile Street.
Mr. Chairman, I'm recusing myself.
Okay,
Do we have a copy of the RDA?
huh? know.
Tony just gave it to us.
How you guys doing? Patrick
You
Kelly.
wanna-
So let me give you guys just a quick overview so you can understand it from our point of view as to what happened here. So when you guys did your site visit, we all had a conversation. I understand that this project was gonna go in 2 phases. We're gonna cut them and then do the stumps, right? That's kind of where we were at. Trees were gonna come down first, we were gonna do the paperwork, and then the stumps were gonna go. So I wasn't home Sunday, looking at the paperwork, talking to my wife, and I would ask if anybody reasonable looked at it, right? So on our conditions, it has no stump grinding or removal to the RDA's file. When she sent the email back on the 28th, with the RDA, in her mind, that's what she thought she had done. So she thought there was no malice in ripping them out. I thought somebody was gonna be there because it was in the conditions while the landscaper was there to talk to him. Because we sent an email, just letting you guys know the date that we were gonna be taking them out. So we thought we had gone through the motions the correct way. I have the email traffic, it's in there, it could have been missed. Wasn't our intention to try and pull the wool over anybody's eyes and jump the gun. It's absolutely, it's our fault, we apologize, but it's just, I think it's just a not understanding the process the correct way and what you guys wanted. You know what I mean? We're not trying to destroy that area, we've done nothing but clean it up and try to keep it as nice as possible. So we apologize, and that wasn't the intention.
Could you back up a little bit?
Sure.
Because I don't think everybody knows what's going on.
Okay, where do you
Well,
want me to start?
do we want to talk about the RDA first, or we want to talk about what would happen on Sunday and Monday first? It's kind of two different things that ain't
Let's
folded
talk about
into
the
one.
RDA, and then we'll get to the rest.
All right, so let's forget what happened on Sunday and Monday. What is the RDA for? Let's present that first.
So the RDA, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, my wife and Tony, you guys went back and forth on the RDA. I didn't even fill any of it out. I really didn't. I didn't fill any of it out, like, they went back and forth.
But I thought
They-
there were trees and stuff to be planted too. That's just for the stump removal?
That's all I had.
So when we met you out at the site, the intent of the RDA was to remove the trees that were dead
Right,
and to put a piling in
Oh.
for your porch, I think were the two, because they were emergency things.
right, so I just put some support under the porch for the time being. I was gonna deal with digging that footing after the fact. Like, for right now, it's gonna be okay, because there's cement and all kinds of other stuff under there that can support it just for the time being. I can get to that, so I stayed away from that. My wife was kind of doing the paperwork with the RDA. And again, like, this stuff is a complete mystery to me. Like,
Do you have a hard copy?
what's that?
Do you have one?
What, of the RDA?
RDAs? Yeah, do you have one?
No, I don't think I brought that one. I just have or is this the,
This is the RDA. You have it, this is the one that you want to fill out.
okay,
You can have that one.
okay. So this is the one that was sent in?
Yep.
Okay.
So there's no description of the work in here at this point.
The only thing I see is stump removal.
Where do you see that one?
It's on the second page, B. Per the committee's request, I am submitting here Form RDA for the removal of the tree stumps for the trees we will have removed on 5/7/23 from our premises. So we had talked about 3 dead trees at the site walk.
Right, so then we got this that gave us the guidelines, hey, this is what you're gonna do. You guys had the removal of the maximum of 3 trees, minimum impact on the buffer zone, no stump grinding, and a commissioner will be present to do that. So we thought when we sent in the date, and we sent in, she had sent the email with the RDA that we had done what was asked.
When did you send that email out?
What's that?
When was that email sent out?
Which, that it was filed?
No, the one that was stating that we were gonna be on site to witness that.
That you guys were gonna be, no, this is all we saw was this. That someone was gonna.
That's an order, that's a condition.
Right, that was just a condition,
Yeah.
so we thought once.
So that was never emailed then, to you, saying that anybody from the commission?
No, I'm not saying, what I'm
Okay.
saying is when we sent the email saying this is the date that we're gonna do it, that's just how.
When was that sent?
Yeah,
With
when
that
did you send
email?
that email?
That email, let's see. Pretty sure she highlighted this on here. Saturday, April 15th. Please inform the committee the landscape will be here Sunday, May 7th for the tree removal. So that's,
Now, when you guys did the site walk, I thought the purpose of the sidewalk was to cut the trees down, but didn't you guys also discuss planting new trees, and that was?
We did, and I did say, like, the discussion we had, that's how I took it, is we're gonna cut them first, we weren't gonna touch the stumps at all.
Right, no, but I'm saying you wanted to plant more trees, and that was, you, since you're in the 200-foot riverfront, you can't plant trees unless you come before us.
Right, we'll plant as many trees as you guys want, to be honest with you, we didn't wanna touch the trees as it was.
Right,
I'd rather just have left them there.
yep,
You know, I didn't want to get rid of them at all. It was just, I understood when we spoke, there was gonna be trees first, stump next,
Yeah.
I did. So, I wasn't home, and when she looked at the paperwork, when she looked at that, she thought that once she sent the email with that RDA, that, okay, well, we've met, these are the conditions, this is what they were asking for.
Did anybody respond to you on the April 15th email?
I don't know if I know there was more emails back and forth with her and Tony. I don't think
Okay.
Tony ever said back to her, hey, it's good, I let them know, or anything like that. So I don't think there's any correspondence like that. I think
It'd be historical for us to be out on a Sunday.
What's that?
It would be historical for us to go
No,
out on a
and I
Sunday.
don't, and that wasn't the intent. You know what I mean? We thought somebody was just gonna come by when the guys were there, just to do a quick, very similar to your site visit, just to make sure that they were doing what they were supposed to do.
I know you weren't there, but what happened with using a crane from the street?
What's that?
What happened with using a crane from the street?
So when we talked to the landscaper, he basically doubled his quote with the crane. That's what it came down to. So he decided to climb it and lower the, as far as I understand, he was just roping them down. I said I didn't watch them do it, but I get where you're coming from, but shoe on the other foot, if it was, if it was you and that doubled your quote to take down the tree, what would you do? You know, I didn't think there would be an impact on the land with the guys roping it.
The truck and the excavator was the big one.
Well, and I get that, I didn't realize he was gonna be there doing what
That
he
was my main thing on that site visit, is not to have any equipment near that street.
Yeah, no, and I-
Get the hazards down, come before us, and then do the rest the right way.
Right, you're
That's what
right,
we want.
it's our fault.
And now it's destroyed. The bank edge is destroyed, and I know you put the silt sock up, which I appreciate you doing that as
Yeah.
quickly as you did, but now that's gonna be restored. I mean, the guy knocked the rocks in the bank, everything, I mean.
And whatever it is that we have to do to make right on it, just tell us. We'll gladly plant what needs to be planted, we'll rearrange, we'll move whatever needs to be done.
How many trees were taken out, do you know the total?
So 3, we just took the 3. The other 2 that I think you guys have looked at, I mean, at some point, they're gonna fall down, or they're gonna have to be taken down.
Do you have who went out there to see after the work was done?
I did.
You did?
Mhm.
Do you have pictures of it?
Yeah, I do actually.
Just see what I'm looking at. 'Cause
I would say the first thing that needs to be done, before it rains again, is you're gonna need to put down some erosion control blankets right along the disturbed area on the bank.
Swipe left.
It's like
On the
a-
bank?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like,
this one.
That would, yeah.
it's like a coconut straw, it's like how big are those rolls, Tim? Maybe 10 footers?
Of the
Yeah.
coconut,
I think
yeah, I'd
it's
say they're 10 or
10.
12s.
So if you guys, if you can,
Yeah, well,
if you can send me.
I can send you, I can
If you can send me an
a
email,
cut
just
sheet
tell me
with
what needs to go down, I'll have somebody come out and do whatever it is that's gotta be done to correct it.
it. And then, probably gonna have to file a notice of intent for with an engineer, you're gonna have to get an engineer out there to see how to put the bank back, structurally put the bank back in place.
You can include anything else you want to do.
Well, that's what I'm, well, no, I think we should just limit it to just the bank, because the other work that he wants to do is probably gonna take a lot longer to get to us. We wanna get this done
Right away.
fast.
But, so a notice of intent to get the bank done.
And then I would throw the trees that you wanna plant, throw that in there too.
Yeah, that's what.
So those we were just looking for, what goes there? Like, we'll plant whatever trees need to go there, but we don't know, like, what's,
Well, you're gonna have to hire somebody that when they look at the bank and how they're gonna tell you the bank needs to be fixed, to
Mhm.
submit to us. They'll tell you the best plants to plant in that area.
Okay, so
They'll give you a bunch to choose from, so you can say,
okay.
you and your
All
wife
right,
can look
easy
at
enough.
the pictures and say, okay, I like this one better, and then we'll as long as it's an approved plant, we'll approve it. I guess it's how many do we wanna,
How many does the tree reg say in the wetland? I think it's 2 to 1.
Depend-
Or is it
Depended
3 to
on
1?
the
3 to 1? I think
caliber.
it's
I think it's 3 to 1. I think it's 3 to 1 because it's so far into the wetland.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 3
Yeah,
to
I think
1.
her intention was to plant more than that. I think she's gonna plan on accounting for the other trees that are gonna come down too and plant
well, like I,
ahead of it.
just put them all in the plans.
Everything.
Right.
Whatever you're thinking about planting, put it all in the plans. That way, if you can get this back to us in 2 weeks, we can approve it, because you're gonna wanna start planting plants or trees within the next month.
Sure.
So, the faster you get it to us, the faster we can turn this around, and you can get this all done, and once it's all planted, then you can come back for another notice of intent for the other work you wanna do to the house.
Yeah, there's other stuff that I'm sure later down the road, there's more
Yeah,
stuff that needs to
but I
be
think this, getting this done,
Yeah, that's fine.
getting the bank fixed is the most important thing, but you can lump the other stuff that will fit into the same time frame. Get that in first, in at the same time.
So for every tree that you plan to remove, we're gonna want 3 trees to replace it, because I think you are well into the, you're so close in the riverfront.
Easy
and
enough.
The wetlands, that we're gonna expect that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. I just wanted to be clear, because we talk in jargon sometimes.
I noticed here, and I'm a little confused about this, because the trees have been cut down and you want to remove the tree stumps? Is that, because it says here, I'm submitting it for the removal of the tree stumps, for the trees that we'll have removed.
So the 3 that we were taking down, we're gonna take the stumps out after the fact. That's what we discussed. Cut the trees first, the stumps were supposed to be after the fact. Those weren't supposed to be done on Sunday. That's not what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to, that was supposed to be 2 phases there.
Are the stumps helping to support the riverbank, though?
The stumps are gone.
They're already gone.
The stumps are already gone. That's the issue. That's the issue that's the issue with addressing. That's why when I said initially, when she looked at the stipulations on the paperwork, that's how she took it, as no stump grinding or stump removal until the RDA is filed. So when she sent the RDA and she had filled it out, she thought she was fine on Sunday to go ahead and move forward.
So this is kind of after the fact.
This is after the fact. This is our fault. We made a mistake.
I don't think that this request for determination is actually useful at this point, because originally it was intended to document that they took the trees down, and that was those 3 trees down, and to do the foundation thing. But in this case, now it's the stump removal, and we're actually asking for a notice of intent instead. It just seems like it's, we're gonna determine that it's subject to the act and kind of a waste of time. Sorry, but it's just, I think if it was just, we wanted to document that we gave them
Well, we
permission to
could,
take down the trees.
we would say it's vote for a positive request for determination, and we want a
Right,
notice of
that's
intent.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah. So,
And it's
Mr.
gonna
Kelly,
tell
this
them to
is,
file.
that's the stuff I'm talking about to put down. You can get it at Lowe's. Make sure you get it without any seed in it.
Okay.
Just like that. I think it rolls like $40, $50,
Okay.
Cool.
and that's it. And keep the socks that you put down yesterday too.
Okay.
So someone want to make a motion to, someone want to make a motion?
What are we gonna make a motion for?
Positive determination.
I'll make a motion for a positive determination on the RDA for 95 Niles Street. They'll need to come in for a notice of intent for restoration work to the bank to include planting of trees.
I'll second.
I have you seconded? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does your wife need this back?
What's that?
copy of the ANRAD, discussion and possible vote on ANRAD checklist. Does everybody have a copy of that? Can we table this to the next meeting so I can go through it a little bit more?
Sure, sure.
Can I get a copy of the current one that we have?
Can I also get a copy?
Did you get
One, yeah, I have.
So I want to make a motion to
It's
continue to the next
basically-
meeting?
Say
I
what?
know,
I'll
it's
make a
basi-
motion to continue the Anrad checklist to the next meeting.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
It's basically the NOI checklist that we have, cut a bunch of stuff out.
Okay.
So it's not that different.
All right, building permits and site visits.
So we get a couple.
Have we signed, we haven't signed any permits, have we, in the past?
We did one.
Yeah,
It was a swimming pool, yeah.
Oh, okay. Site visits,
We got
we,
Dependable Pedrosa.
we discussed Pedro's at the last meeting.
No, we didn't.
we just went
Oh, you went out
We
again?
just went out,
on.
remember?
Yeah, we went on.
Oh, okay.
So, I went out, to look at Pedrosa, what they, came up with, for plantings.
With the 3 red maples that we
Yeah,
asked?
so there was no red maples. I went out there, I do have a picture I can show, I believe I sent Tony over. I sent an email to you with all the pictures. You ever got it?
But I have the pictures.
So what did you take pictures of? If they didn't plant the red
I
maples,
just showed that they planted burning bushes,
those gotta come out.
so what's
And they gotta come out, red maples.
Burning bushes? They're invasive. Yeah.
Can you even get those?
Yeah.
He took them off, I guess, the job site, he sent to us.
Wow.
And, they ended up there,
Oh, man. Okay.
so.
So, do
That's
they
that.
understand what they need to do?
Yep,
So,
he's in Brazil right now, but when he gets back, they're coming out and the red maples
This
are.
is Dependable Tree Service?
No, this
No.
is Pedrosa over on,
Right there,
Oh, okay,
You
okay.
can follow.
Where is
there you
this?
go.
Where is this?
over,
Burning bushes?
Bedford, what is it, 7?
It's not Hanson, and it's
No,
not
no, no, no,
Dependable.
it's on Bedford Street,
It's on Bedford Street.
Bedford
Oh,
Street.
oh, oh.
behind the parking lot, across the street from Damon
They look
Plant.
nice, but they're
Oh.
nice, but no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't have those.
Okay.
I was gonna say, you can't even buy them.
No, you
in
can't.
Massachusetts.
So there you go,
Yeah.
that one's that one. And,
Bedford Street.
I did a site visit on Sunday over to the Central Street Bridge. Couple minor housekeeping items that need to be taken care of. I don't know, did you reach out to John? Were they addressed?
I don't know yet, I haven't heard back from
I can go out there tomorrow if you'd like.
Perfect.
Okay. Tony, you want to join me and bring your camera?
What time?
Whatever time is good for you. I can work around you.
We'll work there after.
Okay.
And the gazebo at
Oh,
the
I saw
temple
that.
is gone up
Yeah.
rather quickly.
Yeah.
You saw that while I was over there.
We went to Wyman Road,
Yes,
and they had basically a request for emergency tree.
similar
removal.
to,
Similar, they were, there was there 3?
There were 3 trees.
3 trees, and they were dead, and they've had the landscaper come in. They plan to, actually, they're not asking to remove the stumps, I think they're actually gonna leave them in place, recognizing they've lived by that stream a long time, and it will keep the bank stable.
Yeah.
And they're hired a firm that's gonna use the crane. I believe that Paul may have, you guys gave her some kind
I
of,
have a hard copy in the office of everything.
that you required, so it's the same kind of, what did we say to them? Because we didn't.
I think it was the same thing
It's
as,
the same thing as 95 then. we're
let us
fine.
know when you're gonna do it so somebody can be out there and
Right, and
do not
they were
remove
here
the stumps.
tonight, they came, because they were gonna talk,
Oh.
just so that you had the ability to talk to them. But they were fine with the afterwards doing a request for determination to document what they did. I just think it's a good thing that we have on record what we allow people to do in an emergency, and they're very happy to, I think, replace the trees, which is, I think, the question for the request for determination, that they want to plant.
Yeah, they like
which
to
is
plant
nice.
trees.
I think they understood it better than the general public, so I think we're gonna be fine.
one of the trees has this massive root that's supporting a huge part of the riverbank there.
Wow.
Just huge.
It is huge.
So they were the ones who were pointing out to us that they didn't want to remove, they called it the bottom part of the tree. So I don't know if they just
It was
meant the
quite a bit of the
stump or
bottom
if they
part of the
meant
tree.
more.
You get the letter from
We said,
Nicole.
Yeah,
good plan.
so I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for site visits.
No, dependable tree, we gotta, I'll briefly talk and I'll pass off to Lynn, but, last site, I don't know what the date was that we went out there. It was,
2 weeks ago
it was like,
Friday.
yeah, 2 weeks ago Friday. Went out, back out, to see what the owner of the property, or dependable tree, was doing. He moved all the wood chips, away, into a big pile, and he was still working on the other area, the far area, still excavating debris and everything out, yeah, the mulch and everything out. But, there's a couple other issues we found, I'll pass it off to you to kinda overview that.
Yeah, they did have a nice silt sock up there, but it didn't extend far enough. And they had like this massive, massive pile of the mulch and stuff, and so called you about that and asked them to put up a fence and to also extend the silt sock farther along.
Yeah.
They said that they were going to start hauling all of that away and in trucks. They didn't
Yeah.
know if they were gonna get it done by May 5th.
Yeah, but as long as they're making progress, we'll.
Yeah.
We do have to make another date to go back out
Yep.
there, and I believe they were to delineate last week, right?
Yeah.
That was to delineate the area.
They were supposed to get someone out there, the wetland scientist that the property owner has used before in the past
Who's familiar with the
with the
area,
area.
yeah, that's what he said.
And they were supposed to do it
I think it was last week.
last
but-
week.
Yeah,
So
so,
Tony can reach out to them to make sure that's been done, and then once
yeah,
once
you
it's
would
been
like to have
confirmed,
them on site,
yeah,
when we
on-
do a site walk,
once it's been confirmed that it has been delineated, we can schedule a site walk for that.
and then go from there.
He said they would have gotten farther along in what they were doing, but I think some people had, like his best guy was ill or, you know,
Yeah,
something
they had
like
some
that.
family issues.
Yeah. But they were working on it while we were there for the other piles, so they, we gave a suggestion for the silt fence, and they said, sure, we'll do that, and they were gonna bring in a truck that weekend and just start hauling the stuff out. They weren't sure if they would get it done by May 5th, but
But again,
But
as long
they
as
are
they're
working
making
with us.
progress.
Exactly. So we didn't say, oh, it's okay if you don't have it done. We just said, okay, let's see what you can do. But,
So,
yeah. we
try to
should
have
go out.
Tony, set up a date
Yeah.
for next week.
All right, we got some correspondence from Ty and Bond in regards to some maintenance for.
Town barn?
Huh?
Tie and bond.
Tie and bond.
It's
Where is
a,
Oh,
It's
I
a,
put it somewhere.
an engineering
that one,
firm.
that one.
working for Eversource.
Oh. Oh, Eversource, okay.
Did everybody get a copy of this one?
Tie and bond.
Okay.
Okay.
Where I have this. Okay. So I have a question. They were mentioning in terms of going on to the wetland, they destroy vegetation and then they were just gonna put straw down? Any disturbed areas will be mulched with straw as required. But there's no plantings? I mean, I know that they don't have to, this is just sort of a, here you go, we're gonna do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But even with, the town, when we were talking about the water treatment plant, they were gonna replant the areas that they disturbed.
But haven't we gotten notice of intents for similar projects from,
Eversource,
yeah. I mean, we know.
National Grid.
we know we really can't tell them to do anything, but
Yeah.
haven't they come before us just as a courtesy with the
What
notice
they're
of intent?
exempt from is the ability
To do it?
to, the pesticide, you know, is this pesticide? Or right away, yeah, proposed.
Yeah, vegetation
management.
maintenance.
So they are exempt from that because they're a utility and they know they have to go there. But I thought I recall them coming in when they gonna disturb something, because we've had presentations showing
Right.
us the timber mats and everything
Right.
over the years. I don't quite know why they, and the fact that they don't tell you what they're gonna do if they do disturb something badly.
Right,
I
last
mean,
year
the timber
didn't,
mats should help.
Yeah.
You know, the vegetation should be okay and recover, but if they destroy something, how are we gonna know?
I mean, is the point of the vegetation maintenance just, we're gonna rip out all the vegetation? And that's why we're here?
Huh?
We're just gonna do it? Or are they just getting rid of invasive stuff and I don't really know what they're doing?
I think it's to provide access, that they continue to have access and they manage the vegetation. It's kind of like the railroad. That's why I thought it was pesticide when I first,
Oh.
to try to be able to access the site because they need to get to those utility structures.
Okay.
So that's why they need like a roadway in, which is what I think they're showing here.
Okay.
So that part I understand and I'm okay with. I think your point of why aren't you telling us if you destroy something, how you're fixing it?
Because there's was it the second map? They have temporary wetland impact, but it's like, okay,
Chestnut Street to East Ashland, that's a
what are you
big
gonna
area.
do once that's done? Is it gone forever, or?
That's right along with State Park and everything.
I mean, if they don't wanna have any vegetation in the area, because they need to do it for the work, I get it. But, when I see things like temporary wetland impact,
It makes you think that it's only temporary and that they're either gonna,
Yeah.
they're gonna replicate or check that it's okay after they take the mats out.
right,
You don't see that.
I think it's to me a temporary wetland impact,
Yeah.
because you're killing off, destroying trees, get to do what you need to do, which is fine, but,
Should we reach out and ask them to
Provide a little more information.
provide some more information about, the temporary wetland impacts?
Should,
And
yeah.
how they're gonna adjust them? There's I mean, it's simple enough to ask that question.
Yeah.
And you have her email, so we certainly could reach out and just to ask.
Yep. Actually, I
That might be the
don't think
answer.
the email's on there.
Because there might be a good explanation, or
yeah,
even
that's
if they
what
come to, even if they do a video,
yeah, this is
or
right
what do you
there.
call it?
Oh,
Zoom
okay.
Yeah.
For their next meeting, to explain it.
Yeah, I think we did that for the water treatment.
Yeah.
And from the North Shore.
Yeah, so they don't have to call
You
them
might
here.
be
Right.
sure.
I think it would be great to get the answer.
Yeah.
All right, and Tony just gave you guys an email from Nicole Hayes regarding Zero Hancock.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand, if the trees fell, why do they want to cut them?
She wants to cut them and have them fall in
They usually
place.
break in half, or they just become uprooted, they don't necessarily fall all the way.
Yeah, but it,
Yeah, surprise, cut them, and then the root, the stump falls back in to where it was.
Wonder why that one's-
Those trees are very large.
But sometimes they'll go back.
Yeah,
If
no, I
the
mean,
leaf-
just they're top heavy, so
Yeah.
we see them fall all the time.
yeah, typically we like to leave the trees because they're habitat.
You're right.
Yeah.
And we don't, as we just had a discussion, we don't want to remove the stumps unless there's some other reason. It's just a matter of maybe I just don't understand what they're asking about the cutting. Perhaps it's because it's, part of the tree fell and it's still, well, I don't know.
Oh, she's got pictures.
Did we get pictures?
Yeah, the very, very back.
Oh, I
Did you
see.
On
I mean, I think it's the
second-
same thing like we've been doing for the last, 2 tree complaints. If it's not safe,
Oh, no,
then.
This isn't,
those are leaning. Those are
Yeah.
leaning.
but it's
They
not
haven't
on a
fallen.
structure, right? This is out in the middle,
It's
supposed
not
to
in
be
the middle,
of
it's not in the
Booties.
middle of nowhere, it's in the middle of where people,
Yeah,
the people trespass around the state park.
Trespassers.
Without question.
Are you in a butter?
Yes, I am. Well, I'm not an actual butter, but I can see that property from my
Okay.
backyard.
And people hike through there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the original issues was, this is private property nobody knew about, and
Well, I don't have a problem with them cutting the limits in the pictures.
Cutting it and leaving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And
particular
why-
area, I've walked a few times.
And leaving them
It's
there.
pretty bad.
I don't see any reason why we have to take them out unless they're impeding the restoration area.
but I would say the same thing, we should have somebody there when they do it.
Yep. And very clearly no
Do the
stop
same,
removal.
same thing. Yeah, just change the date and the address.
Yep.
Did she give us any information about how, if anything survived the winter? Because I can see she's talking about the trees.
Well, she said this can be discussed and voted on at the hearing as part of the discussion, and let me know the
Yeah.
homeowner. She goes on to say.
As the other wetland areas, we've already presented the plans.
Replicate that.
But my question is, they installed the first wetland replication area, how's that doing? Did
We
it
don't
survive?
know.
I've been back there, but I've shared my comments already.
She says she's gonna do a spring-summer report, which will document the success of the first wetland area
Oh, okay.
on the next.
Well, I would hope, yeah, I would hope
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
way,
yeah.
if they were having issues with the first area, they would probably wanna replant them when they're doing all the other areas.
Well, perhaps whoever's ever out with the tree cutting can take a look too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to sort of get an interim look. That would be probably smart.
Because they should be seeing stuff coming
And
back.
no,
by
no
now.
tree cutting ad can be removed until you have heard back from Abington Conservation.
Did she mention how many trees?
It looks like 3.
No, the top and bottom picture is the same trees.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Is it 2?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Oh.
So let's be specific in our,
actually,
Is this in the park that was created?
are they all the
No.
same
Wait,
area?
what?
It's got the
Yeah.
silt
Park
socks.
that they
That's
created?
across the way, isn't it?
half.
Park.
It's
Is
on
that-
the
No,
side.
say, does that tree?
Yes.
I think.
Oh, yeah, because you can see the,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that-
This marks the
Yeah.
pathway.
Is that-
Those
is
trees,
that this
those
tree?
trees.
Yeah, I know.
Locations, This is down in the woods a little.
So it's 2 to 4.
Well, you gotta get a hold of them first. No, I want somebody there when they cut the trees down.
Noon, lunchtime.
Ask the question.
Lunchtime. So I do my conservation
Well,
at
it's-
lunchtime.
It's
Yeah.
the best time to do it though.
It is.
Isn't
During
it?
the
Well, this
day,
is-
you can see stuff.
This is this
Yeah.
route.
Yeah.
Get a break.
Yeah.
Well, see that?
Yeah.
Silt sock, that's, so it's only 2.
Yep. Yeah, so it looks like it's only 2 trees.
Yeah, it's all the same, actually. It's just 2
That's
trees.
fine.
All right,
That's fine.
anybody have anything else?
I do.
What do you got?
The last couple of meetings ago, we talked about, you were going to give us an overview of the audit and our accounts.
Okay.
You were gonna talk to the auditor. Can I talk to him directly, and that way, you know, you can keep doing what you have to do, and I don't have to, and then,
The person who keeps track of our account,
yeah.
it's just our account.
Okay. Yeah.
I have one more. I don't believe we've posted for the change in the regs.
How do we wanna write it up? Cause that's
I
what,
will, if you're okay with it, I'll write something up for you
and send it to Tony, yep.
and send it to you and Tony.
I do have one other thing. I know the 139 project is happening. Are they gonna be installing catch basin bags? Because there's some wetlands along 139.
What are they doing on 139?
Aren't they gonna be repaving?
And sidewalks.
And the sidewalks.
How are they paved? What are they doing for paving?
Mass
They're just
Highway's
milling.
doing it.
The state's doing it.
There should be,
We should all be bagged.
they should all be bagged.
Well, do we know if they are or not? Did anybody
I'm
talk to
gonna-
us?
No.
They don't talk to
I'm gonna
us?
recuse myself from that, I do too much work.
Okay, so how does that work?
I think that we might have to reach out to,
Is that
Why
what
don't we
John
ask-
Stone?
John
we asked
Stone?
John Stone about who the contact is for the Mass DOT.
'Cause right by where-
And whether or not they're going to file with the commission.
Yeah, only because like where Glenn's property is, the river's there, so we know the river's on both sides of 139. So if they're gonna be paving right up to Route 18, you know.
It starts at the intersection of 139 and goes
Does-
towards Holbrook.
Does Alex Haggy have, anything on that?
What was this?
So on the repaving project for Route 139, okay, for the storm drains that are along 139, are they gonna be required to have
Podium.
catch basin bags to,
I don't know off the top of my head.
okay, so we should.
Sorry.
But
Does that
John
reach
Stone
out
would
to
be the
John
best.
Stone about that?
Yeah, John Stone should be able to get us in contact.
State
with-
contact,
With the
yeah.
state contact,
Yeah.
and then we can ask the state.
It's just a question, only because.
Excuse me, Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to speak.
Yes?
Identify
Go
yourself,
ahead,
please.
Mr. Bunker.
Paul Bunker, 19 Peregrine Road, Abington, Massachusetts. I've done work on several Mass DOT roads, and usually, if there's a wetland area, I do work with the notice of intent and milling projects. Usually the conservation commissions we work in ask for, at a minimum, catch basin bags. That's all.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bunker.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Bunker.
Are we done?
Well, that was
No, I
my
think we
thing.
have
So
to-
who's
Yeah.
gonna reach, Tony, can you reach out to John Stone on that? Thank you.
One other thing, you might want to reach out to the district about that,
Yeah, we
not
wanna
John
get-
Stone. John Stone doesn't have
We
jurisdiction
wanted
over
to
the
get the, we
DOT.
wanted to get John Stone to give us the DOT
Contact?
contact name.
Yeah.
And then you'll contact, we wanted to contact DOT. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
Good. And
Can you
one of us-
supply us with that information,
No.
sir?
That's why I'm recusing myself.
So, once Tony reaches out to John Stone and gets us the DOT contact, one of us can call.
Okay.
Just let us know. Tony, I'm happy to call, or someone else probably will too.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Minutes?
Minutes?
I didn't see the minutes in the packet. I'll get a-
She
Oh,
handed 'em
154 's
out.
gonna do the fence too, right? They did say that. 154 's gonna have to
Yeah,
do
they're
that
gonna do the
fence.
fence. Yeah, just like there.
Good, you know, kids are gonna walk right down there.
Yeah. But now it's gonna be more of this.
I know, even more fun with the sled.
Let me get a copy of the minutes.
Did we get minutes? Oh, here's one.
Yes, right here.
April 11th. Yep.
The certificate of compliance.
Why does it say 328?
Thank you.
It says 328, I got April 11th.
Oh, I think they're posted wrong on the agenda. Jeannie just pointed it out, I think. Ours says 3/8/2023, and we have April 11th. So we probably should just postpone it till the next meeting.
Okay.
Go to the next one.
Okay.
Gene, you want to reach out to LEC about not doing the peer review for?
You want me to contact Mr. Manganello?
Yeah.
Okay. I shall do that.
Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
No, LEC,
Second?
BS.
All those in favor?
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Unanimous.